In today's Eye on Money, the deadline to file your taxes is next week. Have you heard? The original mid-April deadline was extended 3 months to July 15th because of this pandemic. Nearly 140 million Americans have already filed their tax returns this year. Go you. But IRS data shows more than 11 million people are still waiting for their taxes to be processed. The average tax refund so far this year is $2,759. CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger joins us now to discuss and sort it all out for us. Jill, help, help, help. My accountant just called yesterday and said we need this form, this form, this form, this form. Ugh. So here we are. Even though we have the 3 extra months, people are still not ready. So what do we need to know at this point?
Well, I think if the pandemic has shown us anything around tax time, it is that filing and paying electronically is preferred. You mentioned that number of millions of people waiting for their refunds. We also know that the IRS has said that as of May, the middle of May, 4.7 million paper returns hadn't been touched yet. So before you start, get all your documentation together, fire up your computer, and you want to file electronically. Now, if you make less than $69,000, your adjusted gross income, you're entitled to free software through the IRS. Just search irs.gov, free file. That's really important. And if you do owe money, not everybody does, more people get refunds than not, but if you do owe money, you can also do that electronically. We have heard some stories about people getting kind of freaked out. They sent paper checks in earlier in the spring, and they've gotten no acknowledgement from the IRS, no check being cashed yet. My check was cashed, so kudos to the IRS for that.
So what if people still need more time, Jill?
Well, you can file for an extension. That will give you until October 15th. There's a Form 4868. Again, the IRS website is what you want to go for here because no one is answering the phones at the IRS right now, or very few people. So you file for an extension, but an extension comes with a caveat. Even though you have extra time to file, you've got to estimate what you think you owe, if you do owe anything, and you've got to send the money in advance. So October 15th, but you still have to pay what you think you might owe.
I thought it was interesting that you just said more people get refunds than not, but what if you can't afford to pay what you know you owe?
This is a real problem, obviously, right now. There are people who made money last year. Maybe they owe taxes, but they were counting on full employment through the first 3 or 4 months of this year. Now they're sidelined. So there are a number of methods. First of all, if you cannot pay, even if you could scratch together a few extra bucks, you should pay what you think you can. Then there are these options. One is to go online. You can get an extension to pay for 120 days. That's an online application. If you need more than 120 days, then you'll need an installment agreement. There is a third method. I don't like this method. You could pay on debit or credit cards. That is associated with higher fees. So you're much better off getting one of those 2 agreements through the IRS if you cannot find the money on hand to pay right now.
Now, millions of people got money from the government during this time. Well, is that money taxed?
So here, let's think about this. We have 2 different forms of payments from the government. We have the economic impact payment, and that would be money received now in 2020. So we're talking about next year's filing deadline. This would be in April. The economic impact payment, not taxable. Don't worry about that. However, unemployment benefits are taxable. And if you know that you're getting these benefits, you have to understand there are 2 ways that that money is going to be taxed all at once next year, or potentially you can go onto the IRS website, have 10% of that money withheld. I highly recommend you do that if you can afford to do so to avoid a nasty surprise next year, Gail.
All right, Jill Schlesinger. Nobody likes a nasty surprise. Thank you very much.